Hello, everybody. I am here, Allie Bond, also known as Miss Allergic Reactor, and I am here on Allergy Travels to talk about solo travel. And I will be having a guest joining me who also did a lot of solo traveling this year. This past summer, she was also solo traveling, and her name is Danielle Berry, and she will be joining the conversation. We had reached out to ask you what some of your questions were about traveling by yourself with food allergies, and so now Danielle's going to join us, and we're going to answer some of those questions. So let me get. And she should be showing up any moment now. And in the meantime, hopefully you have been going on Allergy Travels and writing some reviews, taking a look at our site, reading some of our travel tips and blog posts, and checking out the forum too. You can post questions that you have about traveling, and hopefully she's joining. You can post questions about traveling, and everyone in the community can join in and answer those questions. You can also now join on the website using Facebook, which is really helpful. I know all of you are on Facebook, so you should join. By. Sorry, we're trying to get Danielle on here. You should check it out and see if you can log in using your Facebook. Okay, I'm trying to invite to broadcast. Here we go. Danielle should be joining us. Yay!
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, apparently I had some weird privacy settings on my phone and it was not happy with me.
That's okay.
But here I am.
I'm glad you're here. Travel. Do you want to briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Danielle. Hello. I'm from Kitchener, which is in Canada. So for those of you who aren't from Canada, it's kind of halfway between Toronto and Niagara Falls. And I'm allergic to peanuts and soy protein and possibly something else, but we don't really know what it is yet. So I'm staying away from pea protein as well.
Nice. Okay. Great. And you did a lot of solo travel this summer as well. I know we
Yes.
missed each other's paths a little bit. Do you want to share where were you solo traveling this summer?
So this summer I was in Finland and Sweden and Norway. So kind of everywhere in Finland. And then in Sweden I was in Gotland, which is an island. And in Norway I was in Bergen.
Awesome, me too. It's a great place. All right. So
Where were you this summer, Allie? Have you already explained that when I was struggling with my cellular?
no, Europe, but I was all over the place. I was also in Bergen, in Oslo, Norway, and then all over Italy, and then I went and visited Courtney in Germany. So that wasn't exactly solo, but but yeah. So I feel like we both have probably a decent amount that we can answer about traveling solo with food allergies. So can just jump right into these questions.
Yeah, I think I've got the first question here.
Okay, go for it.
So, how do you decide where to go when you're traveling alone? I honestly mostly look for cheap flights and cheap hotel rooms before I decide anything else. So allergies are kind of off the table for a moment there. And I try to go to places where I have at least one loose contact with. So this summer when I was in Bergen, I knew a museum curator there. I didn't know him in person, but I knew him. I followed him on Instagram. We'd had a bit of contact, so it was okay. In Sweden, I actually stayed with a lady I met on Instagram. And in Finland, I just stayed with people I knew. I used to live in Finland for an exchange, so I just stayed with people I knew in towns where they were familiar. I try to find local allergy groups on Facebook. So I find that if you go into Google Translate and translate the word into the local language, and then put it into a Facebook search, you can sometimes find groups that are from that country. So I found one for Iceland and Denmark because I was thinking about going there, and for Sweden.
Nice.
And I make sure that the towns I'm in at least, have a hospital and ambulance services. And I always make sure that my phone will work in the country that I'm going to. So in Canada, our phones are locked, and sometimes it's a bit hard when we travel to unlock them and make sure that they'll work in other countries. So yeah, make sure that my phone will work. That's ideal.
Definitely. That's a huge thing. I mean, sometimes you can buy like a local SIM card. There
Yeah.
are ways to hopefully to make it work while you're abroad. That's good. Awesome. I do a lot of similar things. So I'll jump to the next question because it sort of goes together. How do you prepare? So once I figured out where I'm going to go, which I also like to, if I have some friends that I haven't visited before in a place, I'll tend to, go check that place out. But I'll also make sure that I know the food allergies to those words and if it's a different language. And that I have chef cards prepared in that language so that I can go out and eat if I want to, or when I go to the grocery store, knowing what foods to look for or to avoid. So that's a big part of the preparation process for me. Anything else, Danielle, that you do that I'm missing out on? I think those are the big.
No, I think you got it all.
Okay, super. Do you want to go to the next one?
Sure. So what do you look for when it comes to finding a place to stay? I look for reviews about cleanliness if I'm staying in a hotel, because I'm a student. I pretty much look for the cheapest thing I can find. I don't stay in hostels just because I don't know how comfortable I am with that. So I look for reviews about how clean the place is and how secure it is. So I mostly book places to stay on booking.com because they have extensive information about that kind of stuff usually in their reviews. And if I'm staying with a host, so when I was in Sweden, I made sure that before I went, the host knew that I had allergies and just not to make anything for me. Please don't have cake ready when I arrive because I won't eat it and then it'll be awkward. And again, I just look for close proximity to hospitals when I'm staying places, not right beside one, but not 2 hours from the closest one.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really helpful and important. Hospitals are definitely something that I look at too, and knowing like the emergency number for the country, because that can switch, and you can get information when you go on Allergy Travels on our website for the countries. We have emergency numbers listed.
Because even in Norway, I didn't know until I got there, but there's a different number for fire and for ambulance and for police. So I actually had the wrong number programmed into my phone, and I was like, oh no, whoops.
Yeah, so it's good. It's really helpful to know, just in case. I mean, I've never thankfully had to use it, but it's better to
have.
All right, we'll go to the next one. Do you have any rituals you follow for eating food? So when I go to a new country, like I said, I always have a chef card prepared, and knowing the different names for the food. But I also like to go to the grocery store wherever I am. It's like one of the first places, besides making sure my phone works. I like go check out the grocery store and see like what there is that I can find that's safe, so that I know, say it's a country where it's a little bit more uncomfortable for me to go out. I can then go to the grocery and cook. So that's also part of like staying somewhere too, independently, especially, Danielle and I were talking, and, sometimes it is less comfortable to go out by yourself, for, when you have food allergies. So being able to stay somewhere where there's a kitchen or you can prepare your own food, is definitely helpful. And So I think that's part of, that independent travel is figuring out where your comfort zone lies as far as food, and what you're going to do for eating. So, anything else to add to that question?
Yeah. I don't really eat out when I travel, so it's possible to travel without having to go to a restaurant. I don't even have time to eat at a restaurant when I'm traveling, though, so I don't know how people have time for that. Like, I'm on the go from morning till night. But I also don't eat out in Canada, so it's not really anything too different. But I also look for grocery stores outside the city center or the tourist area because they're usually cheaper with a lot better selection.
Yeah, that's true. It's helpful. If you have a car, when I was just in Iceland a few months ago, we had a car and we went to one sort of out on the outskirts, and there was definitely way more options.
Yeah.
But I do tend to eat out when I'm traveling, but I tend to look for, with my allergies, a lot of it's, nuts and legumes and fish. I tend to look for Italian restaurants. So I'm a Italian connoisseur of restaurants across the world because that's where I tend to go. But yeah, I think we'll answer that. Okay. I see a few questions coming in that we can answer at the end. So thank you for those.
Yeah, I'm trying to type them on the side here. So have a list.
But I guess that's sort of answers that. Danielle, do you want to go to the next question? We have a couple more, and we'll take the last couple of questions.
So do you set any limits or rules on yourself? Not really. I mean, I make sure, I guess the biggest rule is I don't try anything new when I'm traveling. So for some people, that must be the opportune time to try new food and stuff, but no, not with allergies, especially not when I've got an allergy that we can't quite pinpoint yet. So I try to only eat things that I've had before. And just the same things, the same rules as when I'm here. If I don't know what's in it, I don't eat it. If I'm not sure, I don't eat it. Just follow the same rules I have when I'm at home.
Yeah, those are good ones. Yeah, I guess I have similar ones. I will eat out, but I will, when I'm traveling, I always make sure that I have like any snacks that I bring, for example, from the US, I make sure that I've had them before. Otherwise I wouldn't have them. So that's something that I do prior. But then, I will selectively eat out where I feel comfortable. So I think it sort of just depends on comfort zone. Like, here's two of us, we both have food allergies. Mine are a little bit more pinpointed at this point, it sounds like. So I'm not trying to figure one out currently. So that makes it really tricky, I think, if you don't know. So yeah, but I think it's okay. I think this is a great example of how we both can travel independently, have our own ways of doing it where we feel comfortable. So there's so many different ways to do it and feel comfortable traveling by yourself, I think. The last question, is about medical IDs. And Danielle and I were talking. We both wear medical bracelets that say our allergies on them, and it's a recognized medical symbol that is recognized worldwide. So I think it is really important when you're traveling solo to have that, because in case of an emergency, then people might not be aware unless you have that on, especially when you don't have somebody with you that can help you in that situation. So yeah. Anything else to add about medical IDs?
It's not really a medical ID, but in my phone, there's this setting where you can have something displayed on the lock screen or something displayed in a health binder that everybody can access if they find your phone. So I have it set up so that it says my allergies when my phone is on its lock screen. And then when you're trying, you can translate that into the local language if you really want to. I didn't when I was traveling, just because I was confident that I would be okay and not eating things I didn't know about, so I would be fine. But I also have emergency contact info for my family at home during traveling on the lock screen so that, my allergies are displayed there if they don't see my medical bracelet and they know who to contact at home.
Nice. I do something very similar.
It's not a medical ID, but
no, but it's probably
still good to do.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing for anybody. But yeah, I think especially when you're traveling by yourself, I think that's really important.
Yeah.
I see a question out there in the audience. Curious whether you leave an itinerary for your family. I have my phone with me. I'm not the best planner sometimes ahead of time. So they have a general gist of where I am. I think it's if you are a planner and you know where you are going, I think that is really great to be able to do. My family knows how to reach me in multiple ways, and they always have a gist of where I am. And once I settle somewhere, I tell them. But I'm a work in progress with leaving an actual itinerary. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah. So I moved to Finland when I was 19. So I was kind of a baby still. So every time I went anywhere, my mom wanted to make sure I was okay. And I'd never left this region of Ontario before. So it was drilled into me that anytime I go anywhere, my mom needs to know where I am. So before I get on a flight, I always just screenshot the information and send it to her from my boarding pass on my phone. Because in Europe, most of the boarding passes are just on your phone now.
Yeah.
So I just screenshot it and send it to her. And she always knows, at least the town I'm in. I don't know if I sent her the addresses of the places I was staying, but she always knows kind of where I am. The remote region, kind of area.
Yep, makes sense. I feel like I think that's okay now with technology and, having have your phone and having like the general gist of where you are. I think it's great if you already know exactly where you're staying to be able to share that information with people. So that would, I guess, be preferred, but I guess it depends how you travel.
Well, and I always have my phone is unlocked. So when I was in Iceland, I went to Iceland in February and I was with two friends and their phones worked in Iceland, but mine didn't. So I wasn't as concerned. They kept the parents updated where we were going. But this summer, when I knew I was going to be alone, I made sure my phone died. So I needed to get a new one anyways. Made sure I got an unlocked one. So when I was traveling this summer, I always had a local SIM card and data is pretty much free over there. So I could always message my mom on Facebook before I was going somewhere. She always knew where I was going if it was a last minute plan.
Nice. Yes, social media is also helpful for that.
Yeah.
It was like if I posted something on Instagram, they knew I was doing something.
Yeah. They knew I'd left where they thought I was.
Yeah. I think it looks like that's all the questions that we have about solo travel with food allergies for today. Do you have anything else you want to say, Danielle? It's been so doing this together in two different locations.
Yeah, so fun. And we got questions. Hooray.
Yeah. So thank you, those of you who've been watching. And make sure to check out allergytravels.com and go leave some reviews if you did some solo travel this summer or if you did any travel this summer. And go check out the forum. We're really trying to get people in there to help answer questions that others have about travel, places that they've been or want to go. So yeah, thank you for joining. And we'll do another Facebook Live again later in the next month. So everybody take care. Thanks, Danielle.
Thank you.
Bye.